Today's topic is going to be about AMPK, and this is the mitochondria protector. Now, if you want to know where all that energy comes from and why is this protector so important, stay on and stay tuned. Now, AMPK is actually an acronym, okay, and it stands for 5 prime adenosine monophosphate actuated protein kinase. Okay, now it's a very fancy term if you can remember it. It's a great term to throw at probably a social event or a party, sound a little smart and intelligent. But more than that, you should know what this little enzyme does to your body. Okay, it is the guardian of the mitochondria. Okay, uh, the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the body. It generates energy when you need it. Okay, and this is something that protects that. So therefore, it is quite vital as an enzyme. Now, it regulates energy homeostasis. Now, what does that actually mean? See, when your body is cold, you start to shiver. So this is when it comes in and starts to regulate the energy and tells you, okay, now you've got to start shivering because it's too cold so that your body can generate heat. And when you run, the opposite happens. Your pulse goes up, your body heats up, and parts of your body demand oxygen. Okay? Now, if your brain doesn't get enough oxygen, what's going to happen is you're going to pass out. So this helps regulate that a certain amount of oxygen is always getting to the brain so that you don't just collapse. Now, if you've overstressed your body and you're probably trying to run a marathon for the first time in your life, you could probably faint. And that's because your body isn't ready for it. But this helps the internal system deal with what's happening on the external environment. Okay? And this enzyme helps you get that dynamic energy when you need it. Okay? And it happens almost automatically, and the body receives a lot of input as to what its surroundings are, and this kicks into play. So it senses if the mitochondria has a drop in energy. So what it does is it asks the mitochondria to increase the ATP, okay, adenose triphosphate, okay, and reduces the ATP consumption at the same time. So it starts to get more efficient. Okay, it's not just releases it, but it reduces the amount of ATP that the body consumes. So therefore, when you have enough of this enzyme, what happens? It rewires your metabolism. And when I say metabolism, is not just about losing fat. There are a lot of activities that happen in your body, including defense, immunity, digesting food. This all requires a certain amount of metabolism. Okay. Now, I like to term it all the phages. Okay. Now, autophagy. Okay, now, what is autophagy? Autophagy is when parts of a cell get worn out, the body regenerates them, they renew it. Now, the AMPK helps you renew this more efficiently. So you get a better replica of your old cell and a much stronger version of, if you can have enough of it. So mitophagy is another thing, okay, which is kind of a little similar, but your mitochondria can get old and damaged. Okay, so it makes the old mitochondria into new ones. Okay, now because you may have a kind of a damaged mitochondria, many cancers can take harvest in it. So there's a strong relation between the two. So AMPK also helps that. Now xenophagy, this is a little interesting. Now between the intercellular spaces, some pathogens can live, like viruses and bacteria. And guess what? This actually destroys these pathogens and then recycles the genetic material to make brand new cells. Wow. So what was deemed an enemy for you now becomes sort of like a fertilizer in your body. I mean, it's kind of very interesting that that an enzyme like this can do so much for your body. So what are the major actions, and what are probably the only actions otherwise that this thing does is it suppresses tumors, it suppresses many kinds of cancers. It's a very good control for diabetes, okay? Because what happens in diabetes is you have to have a very efficient burnout of glucose, and you have to have a very low level of insulin in your blood. And so this helps reduce the strain that you undergo when you're having diabetes, because your glucose is used more efficiently, and therefore when that happens your body demands less glucose. So this helps control a lot of your diabetes. And respondingly so, because of the insulin that's in your blood, you start to get a fatty liver eventually. So this helps reduce the fatty liver, because again you're reducing the amount of insulin that's there in your blood, or what we term as hypoglycemia. Okay. So now how do you trigger this? Now there are physical ways of doing this, and one is to have a very low glucose, low carb diet. Okay. Have a very low carb diet. I'm not saying stop your carbs completely. It's not really a great thing to do, because you definitely need certain carbs in your body, especially complex carbohydrates are very mandatory, especially for your gut health. So don't cut your carbs completely, but go on a lower quantity of carbs. Another thing to do is, whenever you do an exercise, do it briskly and do it till you're breathless. You're panting, that's till there, and just stop. Okay. Now, as you keep doing this for days, what will happen is that your body will get a better tolerance. And earlier, let's say you're trying to run up the staircase, and maybe you'll be able to run up only one flight in the first few days, and then you'll get breathless. But then as you progress, what will happen is you'll be able to do 2 stairs, you'll be able to do 3 stairs, 3 flights, 4 flights, and your body starts to get stronger. Okay. So, but stop as soon as you're breathless. Another thing you can do is also just sit up and down from your chair or your sofa and hold your breath while doing it. Okay. Until you come to a point, I need to breathe. Okay. That's what you should do. Okay. Now, for diabetics, I'd suggest that if you're on any medication, metformin is probably one of the safest drugs that are available for diabetics. But the only thing that it does is it depletes your thiamine, your vitamin B1 and your vitamin B12. So you got to make sure that you get a little more of this in your diet. And if you can't get a hold of it in your diet and you're not sure, then you have to probably take a supplement. Okay. Now, the only other problem is that metformin can also cause lactic acidosis. Okay. So for anyone who is diabetic, I'd strongly advise heavy keto diets. Okay. Now, if you didn't know what a keto diet is, it really depends on a lot of fats that your body absorbs, and it uses fats to convert that into energy that the body needs. And it produces what we call ketones. Okay. So if you're definitely, and ketones of course will definitely help you reduce weight quite dramatically. But for diabetics, I'd say this is a slightly dangerous thing, because it can cause a lot of lactic acidosis and a lot of other things that can follow with it. So if you do follow a keto diet, fine, you can up to a tolerable limit, but just don't do the extreme versions of it, and don't do too much of intermittent fasting. It's not good for diabetics for a lot of reasons, and one of these is this lactic acidosis that might occur. Okay, so if you're going to gradually get into one of those programs, do it very gradually, and try not to skip meals, because it's not a good thing. Because intermittent fasting is not ideal for somebody who is under type 2 diabetics. So what are the foods I can take for AMPK? Now, polyphenols, which you find in wine, red grapes, perfect, excellent. Other foods that you can eat: barley, oats, cranberries. Okay, cranberry juice if you can't, otherwise just cranberries if you can get a hold of them. And something that would be more easily available is green tea. Okay, more than and above foods for AMPK, green tea has a lot of other benefits. So if you're not in a habit of having green tea, try and indulge in it. All you have to do is just take a very hot cup of water and put either a green tea bag, but I recommend that you use green tea leaves directly, because paper, as you know, can have some chemicals in it, so tea bags may not be the greatest thing. So having said that, you can just put a speck of green leaves inside your tea, and just don't make it very strong, because green tea can get it's extremely bitter, and don't have it with sugar at all. I mean, it's got to be just hot water and green leaves. Okay, because then it defeats the whole purpose. Okay. Now, barberries are something that are available in a lot of parts of the world, but typically in Southeast Asia and India and things that you don't find them so easily. You definitely will find tea turmeric. You'll find turmeric as well. Ginseng is also available in a lot of supplements, and maybe it's even natural form you can find it. And for people who use metformin, try and use baking soda or try and drink club soda. Okay, the baking soda helps control a lot of this lactic acidosis, so it's a good thing to keep around. It's also noted that club sodas can also help in certain other areas. Don't take anything in excess. Don't have liters and tons of it, but try and get a little bit of club soda. It really helps, especially if you're having metformin. So that was it for the day, and the last laugh is for the people who follow the dynamic vitality model. So I hope you enjoyed this little topic, and if you have any comments or questions, just don't forget to shoot them to me. Write comments below this video. I'd be more than happy to answer them. And if you have any other question about any other topic that you'd like me to cover, don't forget to also write a comment and also shoot me a mail if you can. So thank you and have a wonderful day.